ladies and gentlemen, at the top of the show, just dropped an incredible project that you guys should be checking out. If you have not, you need to, but it's fresh and it's brand new. And we're going to talk about his Red Clay project in here right now. That's what we're finna do. Ladies and gentlemen, we got Mr. Micheal J. Hall in the studio.
Thank you.
In Studio A on the blue mic.
That's right.
By the way. So for folks who are not familiar with you and want to get to learn to you, they're listening right now, they want to know what's happening. Introduce yourself to the world, where you from, claim your fame.
Yeah, my name is Micheal J. Hall, singer, songwriter, producer from Jackson, Mississippi. I've been singing virtually all my life. I got a degree in music from Belhaven University.
All right.
Started my music career primarily as a vocal coach and also as a wedding singer. And now I'm transitioning into writing and producing a little bit more.
Fantastic. So you're a wedding singer.
I was. I was.
Did you see that movie, The Wedding Singer?
Yes, of course.
How did that, when you were watching that off top, how did that feel to you? Was that similar experiences?
They weren't similar experiences only because I was primarily hired to sing during the ceremony. So, I missed some of those shenanigans.
You didn't get a chance to do the after, you know what I'm saying, play Young MC, Tone Low, Wild Thing.
Right.
You didn't get any of that?
Yeah. I didn't deal with the drunks and different things like that going on.
Did you ever do the Come to America?
I wish I did. I wish somebody would ask me to do that. I might actually consider it.
That's cool, because I don't think I haven't seen anyone actually do the Come to America.
I saw one. It was a video, but it was funny. He couldn't sing it.
Oh, okay.
I think I saw the same
video. Somebody to actually sing it. Yeah. Sing it. So you were a vocal coach, and you have transitioned now into being an artist.
Basically.
Yeah. So talk about that transition, because you being behind the scenes and kind of coaching other singers, and clearly watching a lot of talent come before you. Why did you decide that it was time for you to step up to the stage behind the mic yourself as an artist?
Well, there were a couple of reasons. One, I felt like I'd hit a ceiling with the vocal coaching. So I started out, get candid for a second. So I started out making house calls. That got old quick. Mm-hmm. Then I had people come into my home studio and I would teach them from there. Mm-hmm. That got a little old too. Mm-hmm. and then I transitioned into having online lessons, and that was going okay for a little while. Then the pandemic happened. Even though I was giving online lessons, the lessons still slowed down. Mm-hmm. And at that point, I had been doing it for about 7 years, and I always wanted to be an artist. And towards the end, I started to garner a lot of recording artists as students. And I would have, 30, 45-minute lessons. I would work on whatever they wanted to work on in terms of a song that they were about to go to studio and record or something of that nature. And at the end of the lesson, they would ask me questions like, okay, so how do you get on the radio? So, a good manager, a good mixing engineer. Sometimes I would have an answer for them. Half the time I didn't. But I realized that, a lot of artists need help with a lot of things that go far outside of the, the bandwidth of vocal coaching. So I decided to sort of transition into, releasing music and writing and producing so that I could help artists with, the most important part of their artistry, which is, the actual records.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So transitioning, now you're an artist. How long did it take you to put this particular project together?
It took about 8 months. I started in November of 2022. I almost forgot what year we were in. But yeah, it took about 8 months. Honestly, that could have been abbreviated, but wrangling artists, getting different artists to fly vocals in and different musicians to fly.
You kind of saw what the artist side of it looked like. Yeah, right.
Yeah, the other side.
Yeah.
I got it. So I what I've been telling people is I now understand the executive and executive producer.
Yeah.
So I was, and I'm an independent artist, so I was the A&R, I was the manager, I was doing everything basically.
Food delivery. That's right.
Yeah, so it took about 8 months to, get everything recorded before I sent it to mixing and mastering.
Cool.
So you performed at Howlin' Miles not too long ago. Mm-hmm. Was that your first time at Howlin' Miles? I know you performed before, being an entertainer and stuff like that. So I want to talk about that and that feeling, because that's when you announced your EP and all that
Right.
stuff. So, tell the people about that experience.
Yeah, that was a really great experience. I'd been on the Holland Mile stage before, but not as a featured act, so to speak. So I thought it would be also cool to perform on the day that the project was released, just to give it a little bit more momentum, and to also, content is king, to also have something to put on socials. That was
did the right thing.
right. That was a good idea too. So, and it was a workout room, so it was an opportunity to get up there with Lanita Harris, who's the featured artist on my lead single, "What Say You," and give us a chance to sort of workshop live that particular song and record. So it was a great experience.
Cool.
So how are you able to handle being the songwriter, the producer? How are you able to cram out of that and still be balanced in your music?
Well, first of all, I would advise other artists to try to do one thing at one time. I know that sounds really simplistic, but you really do have to sometimes take off one hat and put the other one on. So to kind of elaborate on that a bit, with this particular project, a lot of times I would create the track first, or the bass track, so to speak, first. And then I would, if I had a musician who I wanted to come in and do some live recording or send over live parts, I would have them add that. Then I would start to write to it before I gave it to the artist, because I wanted it to be closer to complete, so it would inspire them in a different kind of way, if that makes sense. So I would just say, take your time and literally do one thing at a time. That's what I did. And I was able to, sort of pull things off for the most part.
Very good advice.
So, with you having a degree in music, how does that help elevate your skills and knowledge to assist you with your own music career?
One of the greatest skills being a music major has given me is knowing how to practice. People practice, right? And that's great because some people don't actually practice.
We know.
That is facts.
But knowing how to actually practice. So, when you're a music major, there are rooms and little studios that you go in, and you'll have a piano there, and you'll sort of, have your little sheet music. And no matter what you do, whether you're a violinist, a vocalist like me, you'll sort of sit there and play your parts as you're learning your repertoire. And then after you sort of learned it, you'll keep perfecting it. But even when you're outside of the studio, you can do something that's called score study, where you're sitting down. Maybe all the studio rooms are taken that particular day. You can sit down and you can, study your lyrics. Like, oh man, I kept forgetting the lyrics on this second verse. And you have an opportunity to sort of do that. So you're still making the most out of your time. And because you're a bit seasoned with practicing and performing, meaning you'll practice songs for a certain amount of weeks or months leading up to a performance, you'll sort of know what it takes for you to personally get yourself to a professional level where you're ready to perform in front of people.
Yeah. Now, let's talk about this. Let's talk about this project. Let's talk about Red Clay. And I will tell you, of course, I was familiar with you because your wife is also an amazing singer, and she has released, I guess you could title them inspirational projects, spiritual.
That's how
projects.
she would say it.
Yeah. Not gospel, but inspirational. So that's kind of where, I learned of your talent as well, you guys doing things together. So when I was thinking about you putting a project together, that was kind of off top. Just honestly, I was like, okay, when I get ready to listen to this is kind of what this is going to be. And that's what I was expecting. It wasn't what I was expecting at the end of the day. So just talk about what people can expect on this record. People that know you as a vocal coach or may know you from your wife's work, kind of describe the style of music or what type of music or what type of message or feeling you're trying to convey on this new project.
Okay. Well, first of all, in my heart of hearts, I'm really a soul singer.
Okay.
I came out of the church, but singing in weddings and things like that. Obviously, I'm singing R&B, pop, soul records for the most part. But I just write songs from the heart. They can be about really anything, and I leave it to everyone else to call it whatever they want to call it.
Gotcha.
And I just think it's important to try to be true to yourself, no matter what people have seen you do in the past. And when I was younger, I used to struggle with that. That's one of the reasons why it actually took me a while to release music, is because I sort of was all over the place and couldn't figure out exactly how I wanted to approach it. But Red Clay was a unique opportunity because the focus wasn't just on me, which actually helped me. I started to craft songs with myself and other artists in mind, and I would sort of try to bridge the gap creatively in that regard.
Yeah. So Red Clay, is that, an ode to the Mississippi clay, the Yazoo clay? Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so I called it Red Clay because all of the featured acts are from Mississippi, even if they don't currently live in Mississippi. They're all from Mississippi. For example, Aisha Raquel, she lives in New Orleans and she's been there for a while, but she's originally from Hattiesburg, Mississippi. But there are a couple reasons why I called it Red Clay. The other reason is because I wanted to, get some pride out there in terms of, the Red Clay estate. And I know that Red Clay isn't, just indigenous to Mississippi, but we're pretty well known as for that.
Absolutely.
Right. And, red clay is actually good for you. It's used in skin products. Back in the day, people used to eat it. I think people still eat it.
I eat it sometimes.
Okay. Yeah.
I outgrew my red clay phase. There was a phase, I will say, my folks are from Neshoba County, Philadelphia, Mississippi. They from the country. And yes, we ate a little red clay and made a few red clay pies, but I did outgrow it.
Okay.
I'm
So
from Louisiana. We just had sugar cane. I don't know what y'all doing over there.
Sugar cane was a delicacy. We got it, but there was some here. Indeed. I digress. Go ahead.
that's all good. So red clay, like I said, is actually good for you. A lot of times people think about, if a person is Mississippi, that's sort of a detriment to them. But I want people to look at red clay, the rich soil that they're from, as their superpower, something that can actually give them a unique perspective as artists and just as people.
Yeah, that's awesome. Now, I want to ask you this question, because I want the folks to definitely know how they can get in touch with you and get with your project. You're a vocal coach, which means, a lot of the technical aspects of singing and projecting yourself. Those are things that you go over with your clients. So I'm pretty sure, as most vocal coaches are, you guys, love to hear, close to perfect pitch. Anything that is off pitch is like scratches on a chalkboard to you. Y'all can hear intimate things in people's voices and in their inflection that other people can't. So in doing that and knowing how the technical aspects of that go, but you being a soul singer, singing a little bit of R&B, where a lot of times, vocalists are kind of, doing their own thing and not definitely as stringent or as confined as a vocal coach might be when they're teaching one to sing. So how did you balance those two things? And hearing yourself, it might not be that perfect of a pitch, or it might not be that perfect of, enunciation or inflection, or whatever the case is. How did you keep from overthinking it when you were doing your music?
With my music? Well, first of all, obviously, music is sort of a feeling, right? There's imperfect music out there that's actually considered classics. A lot of old records may not be completely, quantized and and in the pocket, but they found a pocket and it worked for them. So, growing up doing music, like I said, growing up in the church, growing up around my dad, who also sings, hearing him sing around the house and hearing all the records that the people around me exposed me to, that influenced me first. Then I went to college and got some of the technical training. So I definitely don't overthink it when it comes to soulful music. And soulful music isn't just soul music. It's just, music that touches the heart no matter what genre it derives from. So, yeah, I think that my early development, my childhood, kept me from being so stringent even on myself.
Absolutely. So folks that want to get in touch with you, book you, if they want to, talk to you about the project, or if they just want to follow you, get the content on social media, you got your moment to give them all of those handles right now.
Okay, thank you. And I say thank you because you can follow me at Micheal J Hall. That's Micheal. J Hall, my parents spelled it a little different. When I asked them why, they said, because that's the way Michael Jackson spelled it. But ever since I've seen Michael Jackson's name since then, I do not see it spelled that way. I see it spelled the regular way, but you can follow me.
That's not as uncommon a mistake as you would think. Some people think that Michael Jackson does spell it that way. I've heard somebody say that before.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you can follow me, Micheal J Hall, on I almost called it Twitter. It's X now, I guess.
It's still Twitter, though.
Instagram, TikTok, and you can follow me at Micheal J Hall Music on Facebook. You can find Red Clay basically everywhere you stream and listen and download music.
And you'll be hearing it right here. You're hearing a lot of it right here on Third Coast Radio. Because you know, we bring you all of the independent music, man. The only radio station broadcasting in all 82 counties. Ladies and gentlemen, Micheal J Hall.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Yeah. This is Third